What's up, guys? Welcome to another Boots to Suits episode.
We're out here at Warriorville in Lake Elsinore.
Let's go ahead and take a tour.
No, I'm excited. James spoke to me quite a bit at length with the Boots to Suits program.
All right, perfect.
And given my background, being a salesman myself right now, in a different field, obviously with the hard money, but regardless, I know that it can be extremely advantageous for a career path for somebody who's kind of lost 100%. At this point. Yeah, so I'll just kind of start from the get. This is our trophy room. This is our office. This is where we highlight everything that we have done throughout the past. Nick Ham stood this up about a little over 10 years ago now. Primarily what we do is off-road racing. And that kind of brings that camaraderie back to the squad element, with the logistical planning, the support, and then actually executing with the rider or driver, So it kind of clicks those gears back into play. And so, it's something that we all enjoy to do and participate in and support.
So the genesis was really predicated around off-roading.
Correct.
That was it.
Yep.
To give.
Well, and building bikes, with the garage and kind of building again that camaraderie again with other vets, and staying connected. Because I think at the base level of what we do, it's fostering those relationships.
Okay.
And we do that by way of just doing fun shit.
It's fantastic.
You know what I mean?
Love that.
Because this isn't the VA, this isn't a vet center.
Mm-hmm, sure.
You know what I mean? We're here to have fun and race and go fast. And, the byproduct of that is that, we build a trauma bond through some of these races because it's grueling. It's absolutely grueling.
No,
I mean, we're 49 hours from tip to tip on the Baja Peninsula. Like that will establish some bonds with brothers, And, I speak firsthand from that, you know what I mean? 'Cause some of the guys that I rode with back in 2014, I still speak to, you know what I mean?
Perfect.
And when our back's against the corner, that I feel like that's the primary issue that we have in the veteran community is that when our back's against the corner, we have nobody to reach out to, nobody to feel comfortable with.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So hopefully this abridges that issue. And hell, we've seen it firsthand. So.
Well, I think we all speak the same language. It does address that issue, and probably mitigates a tremendous number of other issues. And I've always said we need something positive to focus on because there's a million vices. I speak personally, I'm sure you all do as well, that we can easily get caught up in. That's not as productive as this and the camaraderie. But having something positive to focus on is literally the key, man.
Yep.
There's just so many vices we can get involved with that'll take us down a road we shouldn't be going down, that a lot of us have gone down. But I love what you're doing here because this is something that's close, near and dear to my heart as well as off-roading. It's perfect.
It's amazing what a sense of purpose will do to someone's life.
It's a full-on field op. It just feels like going out for 29 palms, but it's a little more intense.
Yeah.
It's even more intense than that.
Oh, you got some history in the stumps?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got 20 years in the Navy as a corpsman with the Marines. So I spent a lot of my time with the Marines. I don't know much about the Navy.
Yeah.
My Navy has been the Marine Corps.
Well, I appreciate it, Doc. Yeah, thank you for that.
And this is my never-ending last duty station. So.
Yeah, love that. Well said. Well said.
Well, let's take us up into
please.
the shop here.
Yeah, lead the way. Wow, look at this. Boy.
So as we step in, there's definitely a lot to take in. We have this kind of sectioned out off to your left here with kind of the Harley dirt bike section and then the primary dirt bike section behind that rack there. We have a multitude of different teams that we run. Off-road Harley, dirt bikes, street Harleys, other bikes. We have custom chopper builds that we're working on. We have the Class 11 team. Sometimes we get the opportunity, like we are next week, to go race a UTV.
Yeah, how many veterans do you think you're working with right now, or active duty reservists, what have you?
I track about 300.
300, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
But there's about 50 that take part in this, probably not all at the same time, but there's probably 10 to 15 that touch this thing every week.
Man.
Right around that in some way.
I would agree.
Then when we go on these ops, it can be up to about 25
Okay.
for different things that we're going to do. But somehow or another, there's guys that are across country dreaming about coming here.
100%. I have about 3 or 4 off the top of my head that would, now that I'm more familiar, would definitely jump on this.
No, that's good to hear.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I said, we're taking 23 bodies out to Vegas to Reno next week. So
What's that total trek? How many miles are we looking for that?
Well, that's just short of, or just around 500 miles.
Hey, that's a hump.
So, and then like I said, we're running that dirt bike team and the UTV team. So, dirt bike leaves at 6 a.m., UTV leaves at 12.
it's great to see these organizations doing great things.
100%. That's one thing we were talking about too is working more closely with other nonprofits.
Yep.
Obviously, as you mentioned, we speak the same language. We have a common interest or passion or what have you that helps us. And I think that we can compound those efforts if we just find a way to collaborate more effectively.
Of course.
Just like we did in the Marine Corps, and like we did in the Navy with Doc. We have 2 docs here, by the way. Docs are the best.
We in the Navy have 2 bosses always, right? The
Yeah.
Navy and the Marine Corps. It's
That's
like,
it.
hey man, I'm gonna go to the BAS today. Hey, I'm gonna be in the field today. I'll be at home.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying.
Who thrashed me when I was in food?
Oh, did he? Oh, you
Guy-
thrashed him?
Yeah, this guy knew
You
me
should have
when-
got that. Did you get that? He thrashed it. This is the asshole that thrashed me.
This
when I
guy
was
knew
a
me
boot.
when he was at PSI, and I was running guys up in the hills and doing all kinds
I
of
love
crazy
that
stuff from
shit.
the hospital,
I
getting
love
them ready for core school. So
Yeah, guys, feel free to grab a Monster if you want.
Yeah, yeah.
As you guys can see, Monster Energy is a huge part of our program, have been for quite a few years
Fantastic. They've been a sponsor of the Veteran Housing Alliance as well, so yeah, they do a great
That's
job.
amazing. That's
Yeah, so
amazing.
give it up for Monster. That
Absolutely.
for sure.
So behind us is our gym/storage. We have kind of a surplus of things going on right now. With that,
we have too much storage.
we have too much storage stuff, so we're trying
Gym.
to shuck some of that out.
Is that your
and build
riding
it
gear
out.
there? I see the riding
Yep.
bags. Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
We got the anywhere from the Class 11 gear to the dirt bike gear back
Okay.
there as well.
So a veteran comes in, hey guys, heard about you, I want to get involved, I
Yep.
want to, I have a passion for riding or want to learn to ride either way. What do you tell? What's their first step? What do you tell them? How do they segue into you?
So first step's going to be you stepping in the front door. We want to meet everybody. We want to shake their hand.
For sure.
Bring your DD214 in so we can verify that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that.
And we do support specifically combat veterans. So that usually that line in the sand for us is a combat action device.
Absolutely.
Whatever branch of service you are, we need to see that on your DD214.
I love that.
So
Priority goes to the guy who has.
yeah, no, of
As
course.
it does
And-
with the VHAs, yeah, same thing.
And then we do have the volunteer program as well. So if you do not have that combat action device, you can still be involved in the program, but you would be categorized as a volunteer.
Sure.
So,
I love that, man.
and we do have quite a few great volunteers, civilians and veterans. So it's a all-inclusive program here.
Yeah, I can see it taking off. Oh, if it probably was already taken off. I mean, now that I know more about it, I'll definitely support this. I'll
love
bring
it.
in my DD2 and try to get involved as well, man.
Love it.
My DD214. But so that being said, it looks like you guys are creating a lot of momentum. You're doing a lot of great work in the community. This is like a kid in a candy store. So anybody who knows, motocross, off-road in general, does this transition to side-by-sides as well, or is it just mostly dirt bikes and
Our
four-strokes,
our
two-strokes?
program definitely revolves around dirt bikes and this
Okay.
Class 11 series that we got going. When I said that the opportunity presents itself, like the UTV, in order to race, we take advantage of those opportunities.
Sure.
Yeah, we may not have that UTV on deck, but sometimes it's like, hey, we got a UTV, we want Warrior Build's name on it, we want you guys to race it, we want you guys to do it. It's
Oh.
so those kind of opportunities present themselves because we're already on a track with what we got. That track can veer off
Sure.
different things because that's find different ways to make things happen. Like we have a softball team that plays every Thursday.
Okay.
night. And some vet wanted to do that. That wasn't necessarily a thing, but he's like, all right, let's let it happen. And now it's like thriving all the time. It's been up and running for like the last 5 or 6 years.
It's great.
Yeah, we just took second in the championship last week.
Okay.
So it
All right.
was,
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, we're fighting
That's
a good
sick.
fight. Unfortunately, didn't
That's
win.
sick.
We were like
It was a good
Bad
game.
News Bears when we first started. I was like, man, I don't even know how this is going to work out. But these guys started getting
I
good
love
and
that.
everything,
love
And
that.
these guys are, with their limitations, they still are out there trying to get it. So.
Oh yeah. So what I'm hearing is there's a lot of organic growth. Like people understand the mission, they understand what you're about. You have a phenomenal culture, and they're like, hey, I want to be a part of it. And if they want to, start a softball team or like you said, go in a direction, as long as it's positive and it's legit and credible, you guys are open to that as well.
And that's a great segue to step upstairs because we got a few other areas here. This is our kind of lounge area, but we do utilize this on Tuesdays.
Yeah, the PTSD Foundation of America is also another nonprofit organization that helps out combat vets with peer-to-peer mentor support. We're headquartered out of Houston. We've got a couple chapters throughout the United States that run peer-to-peer groups and to try to find these guys that are really determined, really bad off, and send them to Camp Hope. The place can handle about 120 vets. It's free to send them there. Wow. 6 to 9 months of treatment, and then hopefully they get back out into society and do something good. So we kind of catch some of those guys. They want to be part of the turning wrenches and stuff.
Sure. Heck yeah.
Then they're like, oh, there's a group. I'll go check that out. Because maybe they're not up to it. But then they see other guys kind of joining in. So it's kind of a really good piece of gear.
I love that.
But I'm the Southern California chapter rep. And I run these groups hybrid across the internet every Tuesday night, as well as here. So there's usually 4 or 5, 10 guys that might show up. Okay. And we're also on on the internet as well.
That's pretty cool. So then, like with the Veteran Housing Alliance I was telling you about earlier, we look for outcomes. Like we want to know, what are we doing? Like what are the effects of our efforts? What are the effects of the resources, whatever you want to call it, revenue, whatever you want to call it, that we're putting in or we getting out? It sounds like this organization measures the health and transition ability of a service member that suffers from PTS or PTSD, however you want to term that. Is that a correct statement? Is that they look to really mitigate those issues of suicide and everything else that we're suffering from?
That's it. That's a direct effort of the PTSD Foundation, but the saturation piece. I mean, Warrior Build's tracking that as well because we're intrusive into lives. We're like, hey, what can you do? We're seeing what these guys are dealing with, and we're seeing them come out of depression and getting involved in life, and then taking paths to work and do really good things. And this place really becomes, at first, maybe a place that you need to a place that you want.
Love that.
So it's kind of a really.
Is it just this location, or are you looking at just, expanding operations anywhere else?
For now, we're right here.
I have a feeling it'll grow organically, though. I have a feeling
no, of
somebody
course.
in the IE, Riverside, whatever, will say, "Hey, what do you think about expanding?"
Yeah.
We're always open to expand, but sometimes it doesn't always. It's got to be a place and it's got to be affordable.
Sure.
And, can we track that? Because we really do a lot with a minimum budget.
Okay.
I mean, you'd be amazed. I mean, even Monster's amazed. I think we're their cheapest race team, but we do more than most other race teams.
Right?
Well, being founded by a first sergeant in the Marine Corps, I mean, you utilize what you
hoorah.
need.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Utilize what you got.
We improvise. Like we improvise. Anybody that knows
overcome.
Marine Corps, obviously docs, whether you doc or CBs.
yeah.
Some of my CBs,
Hey,
some of
there
my
you go.
CB brothers out there in the desert we were making miracles out of scraps of wood, ammo, freaking boxes, whatever we had, to make things work. So it's funny how we transition that mindset into the civilian world. We never leave fundamentally who we are.
Absolutely.
And so the fact that you do that, improvise, and you pivot the way you pivot doesn't surprise me.
Because it's about building relationships. It's not necessarily about growing. It's about building a relationship that's really going to work.
That's awesome.
And so we've tried to grow out a little bit, but sometimes they they just don't align because they have alternative motives, and it just doesn't really. They want to do good things, but maybe it doesn't look as good as we thought it would.
That's a great point. We were talking a little bit about the difference between, like, my dad did 2 tours in Vietnam, and obviously when they came back, they were spit on, and it was a whole different thing. In the storm, we actually came back to parades, right? So there was a lot of improvement from my dad's era to our era, right? And then from our era now to some of the younger transitioned veterans now, it just looks like there's so many great things going on, a lot of momentum, taking different issues that we experience and really trying to find a solution on how we can address those issues effectively. So for me, it's amazing, man. I'm loving what you guys are doing. I love it. And thank you for continuing to pick up a rifle and fight, and that's the thing is, we talked about with James and Herbert as well that are right here with the Boots to Suits program, is really like, we all need to continue to fight the good fight, right? Hope is not a strategy. Freaking I wish is not a strategy. We just had a devil dog down in Bastards with another Nick. And he hit it. I think it was a landmine. I don't think it was IED, but it was a landmine. And it took his leg and it took his eye. And what does he do? He says, well, you know what? Then I'll paracycle. So now he's ranked 8th in the world in paracycling. So it's that mindset, that mental toughness we used to talk about. But just getting back in and saying, look, no excuses, man. Like, I'm going to make good things happen. And I'm going to help other veterans in the process.
And that's a great way to describe kind of how we carry ourselves here at Warrior Build, is that service is huge. Right? This is not a handout, you know what I mean? This is a hand up, you know? And the ability to come in when you need this place, to that pivot, as Chief was saying, as you want this place, you pivot into that role of guiding new guys through the door.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know, the happiest time I've ever been in my life is when I'm of service, Okay. And I think that's that precedent holds true here at this foundation.
Great point. Yeah, because we were an all volunteer fighting force. Like, we weren't drafted. My dad wasn't drafted, but his era was drafted. So for all intents and purposes, we served for a reason. We said, hey, we believe in this country, we believe in our causes, whether we agree with the politicians that are making those decisions or not, that we're part and partial. We don't ask those questions, we just carry on that mission. And the fact that you're continuing to do that is awesome, man. You guys are doing a great job.
And we do have a shooting team, by the way, too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
It's we got to get on that too, man.
It's starting to gear up, and there's a lot of things going on with that, too.
I got to get some more intel from you after this. I'm serious.
We got some new leadership
All right, you guys
coming
got
in
to
the door.
fill me in, because these 2 gentlemen talk highly about you.
We'll score
check it
that
out,
away
man.
during Vegas to Reno.
This is great, man.
During our midnight conversation.
Sick.
Sometimes there's so many things going on here that I forget to mention some things,
So a shooting team too, huh? Another organic pivot or what? Somebody came in and said,
My
"Oh, look at
podcast came out of here too.
Oh.
I got a podcast called
crazy."
So like I had said downstairs, Nick Ham, the founder, is a huge advocate for creating as many touch points as possible to get guys in the door. Because not everybody's going to be about off-road racing. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
As we step into the music room here on Wednesday nights, we have a jam session. And that provides an outlet for not only me, but other vets, you know what I mean, who, you know, wanted to practice and perfect their art here.
What if you can't jam?
What's that?
What if you're like me and can't jam? They
Well,
come in here
it's
and
exactly
try?
where I'm positioned right now, is that
Okay.
we have a combat vet who comes in on Wednesdays and teaches guys the drums. And he's
dude.
in this moment right now teaching me how to play the drums. And that was inspired by my 3-year-old coming up here and making a bunch of noise and having a great time. So, you know what I mean? It allows guys to get involved in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Between the shooting team, the Tuesday night meetings, softball, off-road racing, right? Like we have all these different programs within this program
Yeah.
to facilitate anybody can come through that
That's
door
fantastic.
and find a home here.
So one of my first interactions with Warrior Built, when I first joined Warrior Built when I retired, was I got invited to help build a guitar. This is the actual guitar that I built, this lower piece. It was through the Phoenix Patriot Foundation that came out, and basically this was just a block of wood. They showed us how to shape everything and how to actually make an electric guitar. We did the dip paint and everything. Warrior Built did everything else, but I was involved in making the shape of this guitar, all the sanding and the color.
So you obviously have the motocross, the riding aspect of it.
Yep.
You have the jam session aspect of it.
Correct.
You have your PTSD organization that you've partnered with as well. What am I missing? You mentioned something else.
We have a
The softball. Thank you. The softball,
podcast, combat vet.
the shooting team, the
Three
podcast.
podcasts have came out of this.
Bro, come on, that's awesome.
Tom's Journey, the Field Op as well.
Okay.
and then we have the Class 11 team as well.
Yeah, Class
So,
11.
On the class
the-
11 team.
yeah, for the bug.
for the Bug.
So again, it's just trying to hit as much as we can.
Yeah, man,
You
you're
know, and
right.
we kind of shift and provide those opportunities when they, you know, present themselves.
Yeah, if you look at our era, so I went in '88, nothing was going on. Then
Mm-hmm.
Panama hit, '89, Noriega, boom. So we do handle that. Shield, Storm, right? So it set off a series of military action.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we had that time off, if you will. We had Grenada and Beirut in '83, which we know that was a horrific thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then prior to that, obviously, it wasn't until 73, 74 when the Vietnam War officially ended. So you do have a little bit of a period, but then it set it off.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what we're seeing now is really the aftermath
Mm-hmm.
of all of that. Like World War II, my grandpa and all those guys, they had their aftermath, right? Then Vietnam or Korea, Vietnam, and then the series, and there's always a price to pay for that. You're picking up the pieces, or I should say the entire nonprofit or community of veterans that are stepping up and picking up those pieces and saying, hey, we understand, we've been there, we've had to make this transition and all that. I want to take that pinch off of you. I want to help you do something positive that you're passionate about or can potentially be passionate to address those issues. And I think you picking up a rifle and continuing that battle is unbelievable.
Well, it couldn't be a better time to have this in place. You know, if we look back 20 years, we crossed the border into Iraq, right?
There you go.
So 20 years retired from here, you're just dropping your pack.
Yeah.
And we all know as we stepped off of service how that impacts us in our lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being around and out of that fight, it presents its own issues.
Sure.
And you know, having a place for guys to land and to sort out that, you know, with the resources that we've established. Hell, I've been out since 2007. You know what I mean? Like I've walked through some steps and done some therapy and learned a lot about what post-traumatic stress is to me and to others, as well as Chief. So it's a great opportunity for us to kind of give back to those that have, you know, fought that good fight for the last 20 years.
Sure it is.
So-
And there's a lot of people, sometimes they get caught up. So individuals that I've talked to that didn't necessarily serve, but they kind of get this Hollywood image of what warriors look like what Marines and Army, Corpsmen, Seabees, etc., Air Force, everybody that served, they get this false image of what they see on TV. The truth of the matter is we're just regular guys. We're not. We have fear, we have pain, we cry, we do everything else that normal people do, right? And I think that doing stuff like this really helps hit home so that they understand fundamentally we're just regular guys. If you want to get involved, if you want to pick up a rifle and fight, metaphorically, pick up a rifle and fight with us in our respective battles, bring it on.
Yep.
We'd love to have you. But I don't want this image of, man, you guys are tough and you eat nails for lunch. That's That's all bullshit. We're just normal guys that, like you said, we enlisted, we saw a passion and a purpose and wanting to get involved and make a difference. And now we're doing the same thing in the civilian sector. That's it.
Inspiring and motivating.
Inspire mode, perfectly said.
Yep.
So if somebody wants to get involved, like I said earlier, what do they need to do first again? You said walk through the door.
Yep, walk through the door. There's usually somebody on deck here from
Okay.
10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Okay.
We are here on the weekends on a case-by-case basis, depending on race prep, all that stuff. But, as simple as sending an email out to info@warriorbuilt.org that will land on my desk, and I can take you from there.
Perfect. So info@warriorbuilt.com.
And then there's
.org, excuse me.
.org, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
.org.
Once again, info@warriorbuilt.org.
And then there's
.org.
like a 4-page packet to fill out, whether you're a civilian or a warrior. That 4-page packet, just 4 or 5 pages, and your DD-214.
Love that.
If you got that for
Sure.
for our combat vets, and then we screen that, and make sure it's good to go.
Yep, we have our waivers and our DD-214 verification, just to make
Perfect.
sure that anybody who walks through the store knows who they're speaking to.
Love
Right.
that. Right? We speak the language, we understand.
Correct.
Perfect. Yeah. There you go.